This episode of the Local Hustlers podcast is brought to you by Flamingo Pools, your go-to maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Stop wasting your valuable time trying to take care of your pool and let the professionals at Flamingo Pools take care of it for you. Visit azflamingopools.com for a free quote today.
You're listening to the Local Hustlers Podcast, East Valley Locals. Get connected with small businesses near you and dive deep into their stories, mindset, and motives. Entrepreneurs everywhere. Get ready to be inspired by business owners, entrepreneurs, and hustlers that you can relate to and learn from. And now, your hosts, Dallin Huso and Ridge Waldberg.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Local Hustlers Podcast. Ridge and I are super excited to be here with Mark Spangenberg, right?
Mike Spangenberg.
Spangenberg. All right. With State 48. So pretty big, pretty popular brand here in Arizona. So like I said, super excited to have him on the show, kind of get to hear his story, as well as any tips and advice he has for us. So Mike, thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Kind of before we jump into things, why don't you just give us a quick background on your life, kind of before you got into the business world and what led you to there?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Chandler, East Valley, and I spent 15 years in the hotel industry.
Okay.
I remember when I was 15, the legal day I could work, I wanted to work, right? So I grew up kind of playing sports, but I always loved business. So spent, again, a lot of time in the hotel industry, but during that time, like as a little kid, I've always wanted to create something of my own. I always loved apparel. And, during that time in the hotel industry, I was really always trying to create a clothing brand name and something that really made sense. And throughout that time, I was writing down names for a brand that never really made sense, and, was living with my ex-business partner at the time, and he came up with the name, and we kind of just went for it. But, I mean, the whole idea behind it was that nothing out here was representing Arizona in like a positive, fashionable way. Right. Back then it was the 3 for $10 Walgreens shirts that drove me crazy, and it was just like, again, I've always loved clothes. Going back to school, back to school shopping was probably my favorite subject in school. I was always looking forward to that, but. So we definitely had a problem to solve. We would go to Cardinal games at Sun Devil Stadium, being big sports fans, and it was just like, why don't we have more people representing our state, and our sports teams? And it was just because so many people are from other places, which is beautiful. But like now it's so cool to see people actually, grow up in Arizona and start kind of that local movement.
For sure.
So that's kind of like, quick background of like who I am. Spent, a lot of time in the hospitality industry, love customer service, love people, but wanted to create something of my own. So we went for it, and here we are 7+ years later.
Nice. Did you go to any college, any schooling?
Yeah, so I did a couple years, mainly at Scottsdale Community College, but it was through NEU on the hotel restaurant management side. But I always kind of went to school part-time, just because I was always working full-time. I always loved work. I, worked my way up to become a GM in the hotel industry. So, work was always fun, and I learned so much. So, I appreciate school, but it wasn't a passion of mine to complete. So, okay.
Did you really enjoy your time in the hotel industry?
Yeah, I did. I learned a ton. You work with such a diverse group of people. You really get to learn how to manage people, and it's an industry that you have to love, because anyone in the restaurant hospitality industry, you're dealing with a lot of different personalities and guests that are traveling all the time and might be upset and take their frustrations out on you, and it's not something you could ever take personal. So I learned a ton. Learned a lot on the business side of things, P&Ls and operations and all that good stuff, and sales. So definitely enjoyed it, and have an incredible amount of relationships still today that. From the hotel industry.
That's cool.
How'd you get into it?
So my mom was in the hotel industry, so she has an incredible work ethic, and growing up and watching her work 12, 14-hour days. And again, I've always just wanted to work and make my own money. So my stepdad was working at a hotel in Chandler, right across the street from the Chandler Mall, and I just started off cleaning dishes and then working on the weekends and cleaning up breakfast. So and then worked my way up to front desk, and then just kind of worked my way up. So that was my in, is because we had a connection.
Okay.
In the
was
hotel
it
industry.
hard to leave that industry and the safety that came with that?
Yeah, it was definitely scary. At the time that I left, I mean, I was, an operations manager at a Homewood Suites here in Chandler, and everyone that I worked with was like family, and we were one of the best hotels in Arizona, and award-winning hotel, and we have great customer service, great team, and you have great benefits, and you have your pay and all that. So it's definitely scary to make that leap, but I'm so grateful I went for it, and we did it the right way. We staggered it. Stefan went full time, then Nick went full time, then I went full time last. So, and then we were able to create or add more people to the team, and but yeah, it was definitely scary, but it's the most rewarding feeling ever. And the more you invest in yourself, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, definitely. So there were 3 of you starting up. How did that kind of come together? Yeah,
so Stefan and I grew up together. Like, my dad was our T-ball coach. Never thought we'd have been in business together. We were working together in the hotel industry, and Nick is Stefan's younger brother, self-taught graphic designer. So again, like when Steph and I were living together, he knew what I was trying to do, and obviously I had an idea, concept, but I never really landed on a name. Yeah. And Stefan was the one who said State 48 one day when he came out brushing his teeth, and I was sitting at my desk, and it was like the aha moment where I was like, "Yep, that's the perfect name. Let's go." And then had his brother create our main logo today, and we just kind of went for it. So definitely a very interesting dynamic, working with friends and brother, both of them being brothers. And Stefan has since recently, he's no longer he's still part of the company, but I actually purchased his shares. So, so it was a good thing that he wanted to do. And so it ended really well, but he's still part of the business, and Nick's still in the business. So that's kind of how it all came together, but we definitely had some challenging times along the way, just because 3 guys, and you have 3 different personalities and interests, and we're could be all stubborn in some way. So but the more we matured and the more we grew into the business, you realize how to manage that. So
what else went into just starting the business? You mentioned the logo, but I mean, in terms of how much product did you have to get to start off with? How did you research how much you would need? How many designs did you create, and how did you do all that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we obviously, once we created a logo, we had to submit for a trademark, and I highly suggest and recommend for anyone starting a business, that's one of the most important things. Get your legal stuff out of the way, because now, I mean, you see it. There's State 48 companies all over the place, and if they're infringing on our rights, we're constantly spending money with our attorney to police our mark. And that's not to be bad guys, but it's we spent a lot of time and energy with that first company to create State 48, and you just have to make sure you police your mark. So there's a lot of, you don't want to spend time doing something and not have it protected, right? So that was our first thing we did, is we submitted for a trademark, which was a long process. I don't know about now, but I mean, I remember it taking almost a year to complete. So
did you wait to release until that trademark?
Yeah, so obviously we were working on it, but we wanted to do it the right way. In March of 2013 is when we were officially, able to, or officially trademarked, right? Yeah. So then we were selling. We had a couple runs of shirts that we went through a buddy of mine who did screen printing, and we literally just did our main logo in a bunch of different color combinations. Probably got a couple hundred shirts, and our first 2 orders we would just sell out of our house and online and at trunk shows and First Fridays, and anywhere that would allow us to sell. That's what we do. We would hustle. We were working again full-time jobs first couple of years, and we just hustle. So you got to love what you do. Otherwise it's not going to work out. So yeah, we just sold those out really quick, and then we figured out how to print shirts on our own to save money and sustain the business. So that was kind of the first thing that we did, was just create our main. For a long time, we just offered our main logo in a bunch of different color combinations, because that was important for us to get the logo out there, and really, and that's still what people love most today. We try to be creative and come up with different designs. Even one I'm wearing today, that is one. And so if it's not heavy State 48, at least our logo's on the back. But people just absolutely love our main logo. So we don't hide from that, and we don't, go away from that. And so many people will be like, "That's all you do is your main logo." Well, that's what people want, and that's what people buy.
Right.
So I think that's what you have to always understand too. It's not about what you want; it's about what your customers want.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a little bit of the journey, and then again, we just kept growing and growing and working out of. We were working out of our spare bedroom, and just kind of then we got an office, and then now, so it's just kind of a journey to look back on now.
That's cool.
At what point did everyone feel like, okay, we can step away from our full-time jobs and do this?
Yeah, so Stefan was the first person to go full-time. Again, it was kind of based on where everyone was at on the career side, whereas Stefan had more flexibility. Again, we were working together at the hotel. So he went full-time first, then Nick went full-time, and then I went full-time. So I'm so glad we did it that way. I know you hear a lot of podcasts or a lot of people talk about, like, just go for it.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds great, but it's not the reality. We started this company with $1,500 investment, and, today we've sold over $5 million in T-shirts and hats. So anyone could do it. They put their mind to. But what my point of that is that, you're not just going to have all this money flowing in. Like, you have to be smart about it. So you have to start somewhere, and that's what was, every time was scary. Even Stefan going full time, investing into that.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 2 years we didn't take $1 out of the business, and that was important. So, yeah, we just looked at where we were at financially, and kind of made a leap of faith every time, and then always worked out.
Yeah. So you did go for something, but you didn't just go like all in blindly.
Yeah, of course. You eventually have to go for it in some way, but it could be in a strategic way. It could be in an intelligent way. And again, you just never know. And but if you just sat back and waited for the most comfortable time to go for it, or that, I mean, that's probably not gonna, that's probably not gonna be the way you want to go. So that's how we did it, at least, and that worked out.
Yeah. So do you feel like you guys had some immediate success right when you started, or was it hard to get the orders?
Yeah, I mean, when you look back at it, it's important just to celebrate the small wins along the journey, right? Like, you go from not selling any shirts to selling, a bunch of shirts, selling 100 shirts at an event, and then you have it go from, doing or having a couple online orders come in, then you have 200 come in, So it's like you go from, you just kind of have to celebrate those small wins as you go, and just make sure you keep improving and growing. And that's what I've been most proud of, is we've grown year over year every year. So it's not going to be from 0 to 60 like most people think. The entrepreneur life is not the sexiest life everyone makes it out to be.
Right.
And it's, you better be able to sacrifice a lot. You better have a passion of what you're doing, because if you don't, you're gonna quit, because it's so much hard work. It's still a lot of hard work today, and it's even more scarier today when you have a team now, and they rely on you, and that's what everyone's livelihoods is about. Like, that's even more pressure to do that much more. So there's always that pressure, and you gotta own it, and you gotta love it, really.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever consider quitting, even though you had a passion for it?
I get that question. I never have, really. I mean, you might ask Nick or Stefan, they might have a different answer. But I've always known, like, even before we started, like, I was, not to be corny, but I was destined to be on this planet for a reason. And that's, a lot of what we do is, sell products, but we also make a difference in the community. And that's, collaborations, and, we're creating a foundation now. So we're really trying to create a corporation and be that recognized brand of Arizona. So I've always, like, this is like my calling in life, man. I love clothes. I love people. I love Arizona. Like, it's the perfect, fit, so love, leading a team, and this is me for sure. So I have never wanted to quit, but I'd be lying if I said there's a lot of, like, times at the beginning where you're wondering, man, is this going to work, or not even, like, you have the faith in that, but it's more of like, man, I can't even imagine working full time. That's going to be so cool. And then you go there and you're like, okay, well, what's next? And where's the next couple people we can bring on, and to grow the team. So there's always something.
So what was kind of like your why to get through those hard times? Was it to make that brand that you've always wanted to make, or was there something else pushing you to that?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, the why is, again, starts back with the mission of like, I mean, our brand message is clothing for all inspired by Arizona. And that's, it needs to be more, emphasized more than ever nowadays, right? Like we just want to show love through products. And like that was missing in Arizona, and there was no, cool brand. And we still have a lot of work to do, but like, that's why my bigger purpose and my bigger mission is just to continue to make an impact in our community. And that's not just saying that. Like we really do a lot for our community, whether it's collaborations, or community impact events. Again, we're starting a foundation. Like it's so much more than selling t-shirts and hats. So that's where I know why I would always keep pushing through, and people liked it. You'd always hear the good feedback, and it would just kept growing and growing. So that motivates you that much more.
So a little while ago, you talked a bit about not taking $1 out of the company for the first couple of years. What was like your motivating factor in that, and how do you think that benefited your company?
Yeah, it's just the reality. We had no money we couldn't afford to pay ourselves, And I think one thing that we've done a really good job about, and I'm so grateful for our team, is like, connections and relationships are everything, right? So we started, you can't, even with 3 of us, that's almost impossible to create a brand around. So you leverage and you bring on people that share the same passion. For example, my brother's ex-girlfriend, leads up our PR efforts. At the beginning when she started, I mean, she's never was making the money. It was just more side money, right? So our photographer, videographer, it was friends. Our website developer friend from elementary school. So like you have to utilize those resources, but they also better believe in the brand or in what they're doing, and it works out well. Starting any hustle is that find passionate people that are good at something, but maybe they're just looking for some side money that you can afford to do. But I mean, to answer your question, those first couple of years, like that, every dollar needed to go back into the business. So people that I always laugh to myself and find it funny that, when people think that, oh, I can't believe, some, feedbacks, like, can't believe you sell shirts for $30, and it's like, there's so much cost involved with t-shirts. There's we spend, a couple $100,000 a year easy just on blank t-shirts. So it's like, and then in addition to that, there's labor costs, there's packaging, there's marketing, ads you see, like, there's so much that goes into, cost of goods into any business. So like, yes, it might seem like, which I personally don't feel $25 to $30 is a unreasonable t-shirt, especially if it's a good quality that can use for sure, you can have for years. But there's just so much that goes into that, and you need every dollar to sustain a business. You need to pay for attorney fees, cost of goods, labor, rent, utilities. Like running a business is very, very expensive, and it can be. So that's why it's so important to be disciplined and not take you can't take the salary you want for a while, until you get to a comfortable place, and even then you have to make sure you're smart about it. So that's why it's just more of like you're forced to. I mean, we didn't bring on any investors. Like I said, we invested $1,500 total, and we never reinvested. We just kept, reinvesting. We personally never reinvested. We just kept reinvesting the money back into the business. So, partnership fees, working with the Diamondbacks, like there's so much on behind the scenes that goes into running a business, on our, specifically talking about us. So you need every single dollar.
People say that apparel is like so saturated, one of the hardest businesses to start. Would you agree with that, or do you think it's just a mindset thing and just finding the right?
I totally agree with that, and I think that's why it's so important to have a niche, right? And for us, we solve the problem. I think you hear that all the time. If you're going to start any type of business, like what problem are you solving? What makes you different than everyone else? Well, back then there was no company out here representing Arizona in a cool, positive way. So thankfully, we started at the time we started at, and now it's so cool to see the local movement become even stronger because more and more people are from here. I always drives me crazy when outside, people outside of Arizona, give Arizona sports a bad rap and say like, oh, we're fair weather fans. Well, first of all, a lot of people that live here are from other places. And that says a lot about Arizona because they're like, I'm tired of where I was living. I want to live in AZ, right? But also, we haven't had generations grow up in Arizona.
There's not a lot.
You know, you can't compare Diamondback fans to Yankee fans. Like, you can, like, I'm just as passionate as any Yankee fan for the Diamondbacks, but, like, now you have people like myself growing up here, and that's all we know is Arizona sports. Like, think about how that's going to be 20 years from now, 40 years now. Like, it's just we were kind of behind on the 8 ball because we were all so new. Arizona was so new. So, yeah. So it's like now, I mean, it's a prime example of how many State 48 companies you see now, right? So it's like
crazy.
So yeah, I'm super excited for the future. But yeah, to answer your question, you got to solve a problem. You got to I've known, a couple different people that have started something, even have large followings on social media, but they don't realize and it's no disrespect to them, but they realize man, this is a lot of work. Is a lot that goes into it. It's not just a one person show or 3-person show. You need an army to really build it. And people support us, and what overall amount of feedback we hear is, yes, it's a good quality tee, but people support us because they know our mission, right? Yeah. And they know it's so much more than just selling t-shirts and hats. It's selling Arizona pride. So that goes a long way, and what we do in the community goes a long way. So you definitely got to have a niche and solve a problem because it's not easy. Anyone can make cool designs,
right?
But you got to get it out to people, and they got to you got to build a community.
For sure. Talk to us a bit about, the quality and the products that you use. Did it take a long time to figure out, what shirts, what hats you were going to use? What was that process like?
Yeah, that's always ongoing. But from the get-go, it was always very important to me to use a blended T-shirt, not 100%. I mean, there actually are some 100% cotton T-shirts we use, but with a nice blank. But at the beginning, we didn't want it to be a shirt that shrink 2 sizes, and we didn't want it to be we wanted it to be something you want to wear over and over again, right? Yeah. So, and at the beginning, and we're always improving our quality, we're always thinking of new ideas and offering new products. I mean, for the first several years, we would, I don't know if you're familiar with a transfer. Essentially, it's a screen print, but you have to press it on. It's not as good as quality, but that's what we needed to do because to save not having thousands of dollars of inventory of screen print products, we would print shirts on demand. So that's one thing that we improved on, but it was important for us to get the brand out there. And I would say, we're constantly just striving. I mean, we just had 2 different hat vendors come by this week and working on patches, and we're eventually talking about cut and sew, and we just launched some new leggings. So we're always working on our product line, but the core of our business is always t-shirts and hats, and we've pretty much used the same blank of t-shirt since day one because that's what people love, and it's just a good quality blend of cotton and polyester and a light tee for Arizona. So. But yeah, we're always striving to be better, and we're always looking to implement new ideas. Nice.
You mentioned the heat transfer and the screen print. I know there's that, and then direct to garment as well. Can you talk about the pros and cons of different?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the pros for heat transfer, which I'll always be a big fan of, and we still utilize for a couple smaller prints, is that you could buy them at if you're buying enough bulk, you could buy them at a very affordable price, right? And then once an order comes in, how we had it set up is an order would come in on our website. We buy the blanks locally. We get the blank the next day or even the same day. We print the shirt, we mail it out. So logistically, it worked out well for us. And then we were making sure we were saving every dollar we could. Yeah. As we transition, as we've grown, now we have thousands of dollars of inventory of screen print sitting in based off of ordering history. And, that's the challenge is that kind of inventory management system is now, you're ordering that before you have orders, right? So guessing on sizes and all that kind of stuff. But screen printing, I'm a huge fan of screen print. It's always, the best quality is going to last forever. And then direct to garment, we actually are running a Cliff Kingsbury shirt, and it's a photorealistic shirt. So we are using a direct to garment for that, and that the benefit of that is that you can literally take a photo of whatever you want, and that's going to transfer over to it's a very expensive machine. It's not something we own, but So again, that was heat transfers, screen print is what we do mostly, but the direct to garment is something we're utilizing now through this new shirt.
Cool.
So you said you don't have that machine in house, but do you do everything else in house?
No, so how we have a heat transfer machine. We do that in house, but so we have a great relationship and exclusive partnership with our screen printer, who's literally right next door.
Oh, nice.
So they're like an extension of our team. Big picture, we want to have kind of everything under one roof, but we want to focus on what we do well, and that's the marketing, that's the business side of things. Why it works out well is that we order our blanks, we drop them off to our screen printer. Here you go, you do what you do well, and then we'll walk next door to pick them up, right? And then we have inventory. So that saves us a lot of time, and equipment is very expensive. Then you have to manage the labor and the people, and that's not our expertise. That's not our background, and so we have a great thing going on now, but eventually we'd like that to be all under one roof, right? So then you can have a custom side, State 48 custom, and you could print there even if it has nothing to do with State 48. So big picture, that's what we're thinking about, but that's kind of our setup now.
So you said you guys specialize in marketing. Do you have like a team that does marketing, or what's like kind of the setup with that?
Yeah, when I say specialize, I just feel like we just get it as far as like messaging and making sure we're responsive. I personally manage all our social media. I think it's important for an owner of the business to manage that, because you know everything going on. I'm going to spend those extra hours at night and responding to messages. We seriously tried to make sure we circle back with any comment or question or anything. So that's important to us.
Because a lot of brands don't do that.
Yeah, I see that all the time, and that's what, again, I've always loved customer service. That's in my heart. I think that goes a long way. If we screw up, I think part of our marketing is just like, we're going to take care of you no matter what. If we screw up, hey, our bad, we'll take ownership, but I guarantee you're going to be a lifetime customer after you deal with us. So when I say specialize in marketing, it's just like we get it. Like, we truly support everyone, and if you went to our social media channels, you're going to feel that. Collaborations is a huge part of our marketing plan, and that is that we'll create custom designs for organizations that want to work with us. We sell it to them at a wholesale price. And now we have our branding out on with their demographic, right? And people are learning about us. So that's a huge part of our business. There's a lot of different things we do, but we do have a team now, so it's Chloe's been a huge help, Dustin and the EIC agency, we formed a partnership there. So they're, Jessica, they're performing, our ads, and that's a whole new beast. The first 5 years we were so organic, and then we realized okay, we really gotta step it up, and paid advertising is huge. So
has that helped a lot?
Oh yeah, it's the beauty of it is you see your returns, right? You're gonna invest X, and you're gonna and this is what I'm making on my return.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I think it's important too. We're all getting hit with ads and everything. We don't ever want to come across we're pushing product in your face, but we also, with the right messaging, it can come across the right way. It's just the right way. It's just more of our emphasis is just having more people learn about us and really educate people on what we stand for. And that's just selling Arizona pride. And at the end of the day, we do have to sell a lot of products in order to continue to grow and sustain our business. So that was a big opportunity for us to grow, is on the digital side.
Yeah.
So.
Would you say at this point you get more business from digital marketing, or still from word of mouth and people just seeing your brand around?
Yeah, I think it's a healthy combination of both. It's obviously the more we're investing in the digital, you see those returns, which is great. But word of mouth is such a real thing. Collaborations is such a real thing. It's so we're so grateful for all the organizations that want to work with us, because they're essentially helping us grow too.
Right.
But it says a lot about our brand, because there's, you're talking Pepsi, Intel, mom and pop shop. All these different organizations have State 48 branding on there because they know what we stand for. So I think that's incredible, and I think again super grateful for them, because they're helping us get in front of their demographic, and they're learning about us, and hopefully they come visit our website. So word of mouth and that's what creates that conversation so much too. You can see someone at Home Depot and they're wearing a State 48, maybe, but it has a custom design with the school, right? You're like, hey, how do I get that? Or how do you get that? And then you just kind of like creates conversation. Or I'm familiar with State 48, but what's this design about? And, oh, that's my company, So like word of mouth's a real thing. Retail is is awesome for us of actually people coming in and shopping. So it's just a healthy balance of both. I think you have to be pretty diverse, and you can't put your eggs all in one basket. And that's even more proof that if we were doing that before pre-COVID, like who knows where we'd be, right? So we lost retail business, we lost collaboration business, but we had online business growing, and so it's just important to make sure you're not just putting your efforts all in one place.
Right. So you mentioned those collaborations a few times. That's something I wanted to talk about. I think it's a super cool thing that you guys do. How did that first get started? Like, did you reach out to someone, or did someone reach out to you about that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I always love chatting about this. So our first big collaboration, and let me even rewind a little bit. We've always loved sports, right? Our Arizona sports teams. We always wanted, when we were creating this brand, we're like, let's make sports designs and cool designs, and that represents the Suns, but not really use the Suns marks. Well, we didn't want to like do it the wrong way. We never, and we know how it feels. We never want to infringe off, benefit off the Suns and the Diamondbacks and any organization for our own benefit without having some type of partnership. So with that being said, our first big partnership was with Bruce Arians, the former Cardinals head coach, and they're like family now. They've been amazing. They have a foundation that helps neglected children in the valley. So how that originally worked out is a connection through Phoenix Fashion Week. Knew Jake Arians, who's the president of the foundation and BA's son. We pitched him a couple of designs, one being the silhouette you've probably seen before of BA, and they obviously adopted that as their foundation logo, and we just pitched it to them, and like you never know until you try, right? Yeah. And they absolutely love the logo. And
did you know him before that at all?
No, it was just through a connection.
Wow.
So, and then next thing you know, and that's why sports is so important to us, because it, in my opinion, it can ignite a community so much. I mean, the Cardinals went 13-3 the first year we had the shirts. We could $5 per shirt were going back to the foundation. So that's how it like kind of all started. Of like, yes, like partnering with organizations is how we want to do it.
Yeah,
because it's so much more powerful. Like they're promoting, we're promoting. Like again, sports like that. We couldn't even keep those shirts in stock. It was incredible. We raised a ton of money for the foundation, but we also created a lot of revenue for ourselves and formed this amazing relationship with Bruce Arians and the Arians Family Foundation. So like we were all at their golf tournaments, and again I'm going to Jake's house on Saturday. So that's just like that's what's the beautiful thing about this is like all these business relationships, all that kind of stuff like turn into friendships and all that. And that's probably the most rewarding thing is just the network now that we have based off, just being good people and developing these relationships. But that's how it started. Then the next thing you know, the Diamondbacks took notice. We started working with the Diamondbacks and the Sun. It just kind of like was all starting to happen, right? So it was cool. And then, outside of sports, then we started working with, Phoenix Children's Hospital, American Heart Association. And it was just like, this is really, really cool to see how it, and that wasn't part of the business plan. So that's, I think, another important thing is you always have to adapt, right? Like if something's working, go with it and or put your, double down on it. So now, last year alone, we did over 200 different collaborations with different organizations, and that's ranging from a nonprofit, it could be a sports team, it could be a restaurant, like whatever, you name it, right? There's all sorts of different organizations we've worked with, which has been incredible. So that's how it all started, and that's always going to hopefully be a big part of our business is creating that co-branded design, because then we add value of like we sell it to you at a wholesale price. A lot of them resell it and make a revenue off it, whether it's for their nonprofit or for whatever, a kid's sports team or whatever it might be. Or, and then we're promoting on our social media channels, and awareness sometimes is even more important than the financial side. Right. So that's what's cool. We're all about the relationship, and that's kind of how it started, and that's kind of where it's going.
That's cool.
It's really cool because it's like a t-shirt and hat company or clothing company that's tying the community together. It's really sweet.
Yeah.
Do you guys do the design, or do they do it, or do you guys collaborate together?
Yeah. So how it works is we'll get like direction from the client, right? Whether it's branding guidelines, vector files, all that good stuff. So this is their opportunity to give us as much information as possible, and then our designers will create something. They'll propose a couple different ideas, and then we pitch it back to them. And ultimately, it's the client's decision on which one they want to move forward with. But we obviously are always going to propose ideas that we think will sell the best, or
it'll fit your brand as well.
So many times, the negative things you will hear is like, oh, you just put, something on your logo for everything. Well, that's honestly what most people want. And it's like, you can only recreate, a collaboration, a co-branded design, so many times. So we try to make every single design unique. But the cool thing is even though the designs, if you check out our social media, like might look the same, that's all new to someone else, right? So like if it's an organization working with us for the first time, they like the brand, and now they have their own logo on it. So it's their custom, shirt. So that's been a big part of it. So most of it's like business to business, where we sell it to them. They do what they wish with it, but there's obviously plenty that we have on our website too. I wouldn't say plenty, several that usually, organizations that kind of reach the masses, right? We have a partnership with Luis Gonzalez and his nonprofit that benefits first responders in Arizona. So that's a shirt that's gonna make sense to live up on our website. So anything that lives on our website, we do a $5 donation back to that charity, right? So we're working with Eno Benjamin, former ASU running back, and now Cardinal running back, and so we got that on our website. So there's certain things that make sense to be on our website, and most don't. It's just logistics too. Now, if we were to put every single design,
many,
it'd be insane, and a lot of it wouldn't sell through our channels, right? It's more of like their community. You're gonna be, they're gonna be the ones that are gonna purchase it. So, we have something coming up with Special Olympics Arizona. So there's a lot of cool stuff, always we're working on.
Do you spend more time cleaning your pool than you spend swimming in it? Then call Flamingo Pools today. Flamingo Pools is your go-to swimming pool maintenance and repair company in the East Valley. Whether it's weekly maintenance, repairs, green to cleans, or one-time cleanings, Flamingo Pools will take care of you. Honest, reliable, and innovative. Just a few of the many good things Flamingo Pools customers have to say about them. Ask them about their mineral treatment, which will keep your chemical levels down, allowing you to have a healthier bathing experience. At Flamingo Pools, they know that your pool was made to be enjoyed, so let them handle the rest. Check them out at azflamingopools.com or give them a call at 480-422-6013. Mention this podcast, and you'll get your first month of maintenance completely free. That's azflamingopools.com and 480-422-6013.
I've seen on Instagram that you guys have like a headquarters.
Yeah.
Now, is that like a retail sort of location that people can come in and check you guys out, or what is that exactly?
Yeah, we're in North Chandler. Half of it's retail, half is workspace. So it's kind of unique, and it works out well because we can create a revenue while we're working. So Stacy is out in the front, always managing that. She's incredible, treats people awesome. So yeah, people come in, shop, touch it, feel it, and that's been more and more popular of people wanting to come in. I know retail's in some ways kind of dying and big malls and stuff, but I think if you have, if you could always provide a good experience, and if you have something people want, that's why we're just a commercial business plaza. It's not like we're not getting foot traffic. People are coming there to shop
right.
or to get something or meet or what. So like our goal is to potentially open more doors similar to that, where it doesn't have to pay, high rents in a mall where, have less foot traffic, but like we can promote how through our community to come visit us. So that's kind of the reason why we wanted to do that mixture of workspace and retail.
Mm-hmm. And even though retail is kind of dying, like you said, do you feel like it's a benefit for people to come in and actually like see it in person?
Oh
touch
yeah,
it
there's so many people that they say someone has to see something 6 or 7 times before they buy it, right? But there's so many people want to touch it, feel it. I don't blame them. I want to be able to. The cool thing is once you know like how the sizing fits, because especially for ladies, like our style shirt tends to run a little small. Or for the fellas, even if if you don't like it, it's tight. Like you didn't even know like how it fits the first time. I mean, you could take your shot online, which a lot of people do, but especially people that live nearby, like come in and try it on, or you see it for the first time and you want to come in and try it on. At least you know your size for the future. So it just gives an option, and it's been working out really well.
That's cool. And do you guys sell in like any other sort of retail locations? Yeah,
so we have a second location in downtown Phoenix at the Churchill, which is 10 local businesses all out of shipping containers. So I don't know if you're familiar with them or familiar with that project, but so we definitely have a retail location there, a much smaller footprint, so we can't offer as many products as we normally do. So those are our 2 locations, but we also sell to other retailers in the Valley too that essentially are a retailer of ours, and they'll buy our products at wholesale and they resell it. So all that information is on our website.
That's cool. So you guys have a ton of designs. How do you know what products to put in like the retailers so that people can?
So we leave that up to them. So
what they want.
What we do, I believe is that if anyone wants to join like our retailer family too, like we're also strategic about it. We don't want 4 locations in Chandler, So if someone wants to work with us, like we're open to working with them, then we set them up at a wholesale account, and then they buy directly from our website of what they would like to resell. So obviously we can give recommendations and all that kind of stuff, but that's totally up to the retailer.
How about just creating the designs in general? I'm sure like at first it was the 3 of you doing that, or
no. So Nick is our partner, lead graphic designer. Then we have Andrea and Zach on the team. So all 3 of them. I mean, I voice my opinion, and but they do a great job, and so that's really on the designers. But how at first, how we progressed is that, Nick being the designer, that was his skill set. We would still chat about it, every week when we met, and had discussions on everyone's feelings. And so I think that was a challenge for us, is because everyone was trying to create the shirt or any new design, but more it's like, hey, let's let them do their thing, but let's give them ideas, right? So, or feedback once we see something. So it's a collective effort, but it's definitely the skill set of the designers that are the ones pumping those out.
Yeah, that's cool. So what's kind of like your role currently in the business? What do you do on like a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my title is CEO. So I'm overall in charge of the entire operation. So, I mean, every day is different, which I love. I mean, it's a lot of social media, meetings, conversations, with the team, prospects. Social media lately has been very, very important, just with everything going on, and being mindful of that. But I mean, it's a lot of sales. It's a lot of operation. I mean, we still wear a lot of different hats, but like, for example, get to the shop, usually meet with Chloe. But then there's always questions that come about all throughout the day of like, let's do this or that. But right now, implementing a lot of procedures and processes and working on a foundation. So I always have, probably 3 or 4 different checklists I'm working on for big ticket items. I have the whiteboards of like big vision stuff. So that's my role, is to always think of the next 10 steps. But there's also a lot of day-to-day operation involved. I mean, we're still, a small team, so we have to wear a lot of different hats, and that's, even helping when customers come in or whatever it might be. So it's spread out. It's different every day.
Yeah, that's cool though.
How many people do you guys have on your team?
So we have 15, but I think only 8 of us are full time. And I say that, it's just like when you think about even us first going full time, it's just it's cool to see where we're at today, right? But 8 of us full time. So several people are just kind of contractors. Not that diminish that at all. It's just more of like videographer, like our videographer. She does. Our photographer does a lot where it's, in there every week and such, and photo shoots. But, videographer, we don't need every single, day. The PR, that's becoming more of a regular. Yeah. Our attorneys. So like there's a lot of pieces of it that you don't need every day, and it allows you to really kind of manage that. But
yeah. How did you, I guess taking it back, because you have this big team now, how did you start like creating positions like, oh, we need a different person to do this and we need to, hand this off to someone here?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of when you're into the business every day, you realize, okay, what am I doing all day long that I could be delegating because someone else that's better at this can be doing, right? So, Chloe, for example, coming on board full time, we met her. She was a rally back with Arizona Diamondbacks. We worked with Arizona Diamondbacks. We did a photo shoot with her and her boyfriend. She started helping us out at the church on the retail side, quickly realized like she's, very organized, like, has a degree in marketing now. So like there is some assets there. So like brought her on board, and that she's been a huge, help personally to me and helping, manage the day to day. And so that's when you realize like, man, what do I need help with? And then you kind of just go from there, right? Like fulfillment. We added on extra help just to keep up with the orders. It's just always what Stacy, incredidible customer service. So she's out there managing kind of the store and taking care of. So it's really just like taking a step back and bringing on Alyssa, who has a background in the nonprofit world, is helping us get our foundation going. So it's just really like realizing, okay, what are the things you're doing every day that you can have help on and you can justify help on, right? That's going to maybe bring in revenue.
Right.
So offset any costs, but, or allow you to do bigger ticket items that can bring in more revenue. So, you always have your standard, positions, accounting, all that kind of stuff, but I think getting that squared away first, but just really figuring out what you need.
And then taking it back even further, sorry, kind of going backwards here, but when it was just the three of you, how did you guys differentiate the different roles that you guys would handle, or did you kind of like do everything together? Yeah,
and that's we could have done things so much better. At the beginning, we were all freaking doing the same thing sometimes, and it was just like fighting about like, we weren't smart about like, all right, this is your skill set, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and I'm going to do this, right? We never really formalize that at the beginning, which I think was something we learned from. So I think it's important that anyone starting a business right at the beginning, it's like, what are you good at and what am I not good at? And let's determine these roles right now, because 3 equal partners starting off, we were just kind of running in circles. We were forced to, right? We were wearing a lot of different hats, but then sometimes stepping on each other's toes, and 2 people are working on the same thing when you could be working on something else. So that's one thing we weren't good at the beginning. Since we definitely have a good structure in place, and everyone kind of knows their roles, but that's something I would highly recommend at the beginning of starting a business, is like figure out those roles and really play off people's strengths.
Was that your biggest challenge starting off, or was there some other sort of big hurdle that was like the main thing that you had to overcome?
I think the biggest challenge at the beginning is just not having enough time, right? You're working full-time jobs, especially at the beginning, and it's just like, I remember working 10 hours a day at the hotel. Sometimes I was 6 days a week, and then I would go, to the shop or wherever our office was, whether it's the home or the shop, and working until 1 or 2 in the morning. Now I'm like, now I'm freaking in bed by 9 or 10 sometimes, and I'm like, look back and I'm like, man, how was I staying up that late? It's just like, because that's just what needed to happen, right? Like, I'd be low key working on the business, sometimes at work, but I didn't want to disrespect work that was paying me to run, state. So like, there's so much day-to-day stuff. Yeah. So that was the biggest challenge, is like at that time you're so reactive and you can't get ahead. Like, so you're always, you can with your work ethic, but it was just like, now it was so refreshing when we all went full time, because now it's like I can focus on State 48 100%. Right. So it was just, and that's what helped us continue to grow.
Yeah.
Besides like deciding who does what would you go back and do differently if you could do it all over again?
That's a good question. I would say, so again, at the beginning, not only forming your operating agreement, but having 3 equal partners, that is very hard. I don't care if you're friends or just business partners. So I think there should always be, at the beginning, we didn't have one person in charge. It may have been me taking that lead, but there was not one Pacific, again, talking about the roles. There wasn't like, yes, we're gonna go by kind of your vision and obviously be collective and work together at it. But someone needs to be in charge, and that's one thing that we didn't do at the beginning. And it was just when you have, example, 3 of us working with 3 different personalities, 3 different styles, and 3 different maybe paths to get there. You're running circles sometimes. So I think that was a huge thing we would have done differently, is just determine those roles at the beginning, and having one person in charge, because otherwise you can debate about things all day long, but someone needs to be able to say with the best interest of the company of like, this is how we're going to go. Love what you're saying, love your feedback, but like someone needs to be in charge to say that. And that's what we, failed to do for several years. So, again, we didn't know any better. That's probably the best learning you can do, is just starting a business and learning as you go. And it's really I've developed so much, and it's shaped me into a better person and us into a better company. Just learning what not to do, right? So
did you have any mentors or role models along the way to help you guys out?
Yeah, I mean, personally, like I'm always inspired by people doing big things, and professionally or personally. So I think surrounding yourself with the right circle is important. Especially being younger and starting a business, and you're still partying and do whatever, right? Like, you got to be able to sacrifice a lot of that, because especially if you're working full-time job and, creating some of your passion, you got to sacrifice that, and you got to be around people that inspire you and that you can learn from. You can learn from, I still do all the time, is like, whether it's business leaders in different, whether it's a nonprofit or a different, world, it's you can pick and pull of what someone's doing that they're successful at, and you can implement that in your business. So I'm a huge fan of like surrounding yourself with the right people that inspire you and that make you better, right? That challenge you to be like, man, I want to do what he or she's doing, or more just because like that competitive nature of like, I want to get on that level. And for me, it's just success is like what I strive for every day. So it keeps me up at night.
Nice. And I'm sure being in this business, you've created a lot of relationships with people that you can surround yourself with now that are just positive influences.
That's been the coolest part for sure. Like, sometimes I'm still like pinching myself, like Gonzo. And this isn't to drop names or anything, but Luis Gonzalez is like the nicest guy in the world, and he's become a really good friend. And we've done a lot of shirts together, and like he's helped us so much. But like the fact that I can call him right now, he's going to answer.
That's so cool.
Steve. And I mean, like, when you think about it, it's like you sitting in the stands watching, Diamondbacks game, and especially watching him help us win a World Series, and now you're friends with him, right? And then like Steve,
you would never imagine, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's crazy, and it's just like, and you get to realize like all these people are just normal human beings, just like the rest of us, right? But it's like you form these relationships. People get to know who you are. They know it's more than just, again, selling T-shirts and hats for us. And Steve Keim, the GM of the Cardinals, is a good friend of mine, and he's helped us so much. I mean, he helped us land the Cliff Kingsbury shirt idea, and he was a big part of a lot of our success. So like, I'm always grateful for everyone I come across and get to know. And Scott Harkey, president of OH Partners, is awesome guy, and I learned so much from. So like, that's why it's just so important to like surround yourself with people that inspire you.
Yeah. And it sounds like you just like went for it sometimes, took risks, just asked people to do things, and even though you didn't know them personally, but you just slowly built up those relationships.
Yeah, and people that don't understand the whole like networking and relationship thing, like people sometimes make it out to be so glamorous that, oh, you're always out and about at these events. Like there's a lot of work that goes into it, like socializing, and yes, having a cocktail at a good at a cool place, like that seems cool from the outside, but like, that's what. You don't just meet someone one time and then you become best friends, right? Like, I mean, you have those several interactions of like, you have to be out and about. Like, if I were to see, I met Steve Keim through, BA event, and then like, cool, shake your hand, nice to meet you. But then like, okay, see you again. Like, oh, what's up? Like you have to be out and about, like always connecting. And when people get to know like what you stand for and your reputation, and you're just, you know, cool, laid back person, and you try to find a way to help, like that's kind of how it all comes together. So it's definitely a lot of work, and you got to have the passion to want to network, and someone's got to be on your team to want to be doing that. And that's kind of my role too. So.
Any books or podcasts that you listen to that have helped you along the way?
Yeah, building a brand. I think that's what it's called. I'll pull it up right now.
Okay.
I'm not a big book reader. Mm-hmm. I just like, because my mind starts thinking of like 10 other things. But building a story brand is one of my favorite podcasts. I also love just because branding is so, you know, important, and it just kind of. They interview so many different business leaders, and I just love hearing stories too. And the cool thing and commonality of everyone is like everyone starts from somewhere.
Yeah,
everyone has a story, so you can pick and pull from everything. It really kind of just like it refreshes, especially if anyone's starting, you know, wanting to start something. I think like that's a really good podcast to listen to, or it's important to listen to those, like storytelling, because it's like it really like, okay, yeah, like. I'm doing okay. Like there's like people that lose it all, and then they there's it kind of just like, you know, watching The Prophet is one of my favorite shows on MSNBC with Marcus Lemonis, and he kind of comes into businesses and helps, you know, Shark Tank obviously, but I love those type of shows and where you can learn from, but it's real world, and I think all those, it just kind of humanizes people and shows that. Hey, we do all start from somewhere. We all have our challenges, and a lot of them are like the same challenges everyone's facing every day. Yeah. And I think that kind of like just refreshes people and gets people amped up again.
So what is, I guess, the plan moving forward now for State 48? Do you have like an end goal in mind, or what are you doing moving forward?
100%. Yeah. So our ultimate goal is to be that recognized brand of Arizona.
Yeah.
Long way to go, but obviously reaching more people. But how we're going to do that, and again, what I've referenced in this podcast is we're really trying to form a corporation here, and that's not just, we have our retail side of things, but we're creating a foundation. Excuse me. We're creating a travel group, which we're going to be announcing like right when COVID, you know, happened. So that's going to be organizing road trips for our fans, you know, for Cardinal fans, Suns fans, all that, and you know, different states, right? And just organizing that group. So that's something I'm really excited for. Community impact is big for us, you know, opening more locations throughout the valley. So just continue to spread our footprint. And again, it's not always going to be about just products, right? That's a prime example of foundation, travel, really creating community. So, there's a lot of things we're always working on, and I'm excited to continue to see it kind of all come together. Yeah.
Is the foundation something that you're able to dive into a bit more? Like what specifically you guys are going to be doing?
Yeah. I mean, we're filing for articles of corporation maybe as early as Friday. We're still working through details. We have a call again today, but the whole premise of it is that we just want to make a bigger impact. Yeah. And we have our pillars that we're creating now. That's kind of whether that focuses on entrepreneurship, youth. But we already do so much in our community now, but we want to be able to make a bigger impact on the foundation side, whether that's, you know, creating, you know, fundraisers and putting on galas and stuff where we can bring in revenue, which we can, again, write checks for, and things that we haven't been able to do in the past, right? Because what we do now always has to be bringing in revenue, too, to make sense. So this will allow us to kind of raise money and, you know, bring in people to help make a bigger difference in Arizona. And that's what we're all about. But, yeah, we'll release all those details, but, you know, a lot of it's going to be youth, entrepreneurship, and just our community. You know, it's going to be vague because it's going to allow us to do so much. Yeah. We don't want to have to say no because it's not something that we, you know, it's not in our mission statement, right? So yeah, there'll be more information to come on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's kind of been the motivating factor to give back to the community and to start a foundation and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's just where we're from, right? Like this is home, and again, it was kind of like that. I always felt like an underdog here and there. Again, more relating it to sports is just like why are people, more in the past of like, oh, I'm going to go move to Cal. Like that drove me like personally insane when someone like in high school go, I'm going to go move to California or move to New York, because it was almost like a slap in the face that Arizona wasn't the place to be. And now and then again, I know it's not. It's just like on the extreme were my thoughts, but it's just we're home, right? And it's just like there's no better feeling than having working with these organizations and them feeling so grateful of like touching lives, or Phoenix Children's Hospital, Make-A-Wish Arizona, like those kind of things, and it's all from just a cool, comfortable T-shirt, right? So that's been the most rewarding thing, is just knowing that you're doing your part to really make our community, our world a better place. And not to be corny, but like I think more people just need to share love, and that's what we're all about. So that's it's just been the most rewarding part of this, is not only the connections, relationships, but making a difference.
Cool. Well, I guess before we close up here, we got a fun little game we're going to play with you. So how it's going to work is you have 60 seconds to answer as many questions as you can. They'll just be questions, about you. So just rapid fire. We'll go back and forth asking. So yeah, just see how many you can answer within the 60 seconds, and we'll see how you do compared to everyone else. So we'll just pull it up real quick. Ridge will start us off. I'll count you down in 3, 2, 1.
Chocolate.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Save a life.
Music you turn on when nobody's around.
I mean, I don't turn. The first thing that would come on my radio would be probably hip hop.
Okay. If you were stuck on an island, what would you bring?
Food. Favorite quote. Pass.
If you could have dinner with anyone in time, who would it be?
Probably Marcus Lemonis.
What's your spirit animal?
I'm so chill. I don't know what that would be. Yeah. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
I guess.
Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
LeBron.
Oh, we'll have to talk after this.
If you could swim in any liquid, what would it be?
Tito's.
Oh, time's up. All right, that's good. Not bad. Good stuff. So you're a LeBron fan then?
Yeah. I'm. If it's he's such an amazing athlete, and he does so much for his community and all that. And obviously, it's just now like, yeah, MJ was the past, but LeBron is just, man, he's a beast. And it's never someone I've like, you have hate. Kind of for like players that teams that play against you.
Uh-huh.
I've never not like disliked LeBron, so it's just like he's just, man, he's a beast on the court. So
even Lakers versus Suns, no.
Oh yeah,
no
that part
animosity
definitely that part disturbs me. But also he hasn't done us wrong like MJ did us in '93.
Right?
So.
Yeah. So still hard feelings from that. Yeah, that was before our time. So
Yeah.
But
just watching the Last Dance kind of. I mean, I hardly remember it, but it just, man, it stings.
I was slightly bitter about it, even though I wasn't.
Yeah.
All right. Before we close up, why don't you just give us some quick advice for, I guess, not only business owners in general, but someone that's wanting to get into the apparel industry, want to start a company. What would you tell someone?
Yeah, I would say like anything you have interest in starting, like make sure it's a passion of yours. Make sure you're solving a problem. Like what's your niche, right? Like what's going to separate you from the other million clothing companies.
Yeah.
I think that's extremely important. Maybe find the right partners. I think that's so important. Whether you want to start it yourself and then hire people, or if you're going to have people join as a partner, make sure that they're a long-term fit and they're going to work as hard as you are.
Yeah.
I think that's, and then you hear so much. Thankfully, like Stefan and Nick and I, are like brothers, right? They are brothers. We're like family, so everything's good there.
Yeah.
But I hear so much bad, stories of people kind of separating and no longer friends because of businesses.
Right.
It gets ugly, it's just like you put all your sweat and tears into a business, and tough conversations need to happen, and people need to know how much hard work it does, require to start a business, and know that you got to have a lot of patience. It's not going to be an overnight success.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could figure that out, kudos to you. But most businesses take years to really get to a point where you want it to be, right? So I think patience is so important to emphasize. Really it just becomes, it's what's your passion, like what's going to separate you from someone else. And again, at that point when we started State 48, we were solving a problem. It was my passion to start something of my own. I've always wanted to do something of my own, and I always loved clothes, so it kind of just all fit, right? I loved Arizona. It's where I'm from, so like it just hit everything, right? If you're just gonna do it, just think you're gonna make a ton of money or something, like if you're not into it for the right reasons, it's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, how about you tell the listeners where they can find you guys, social media, stores?
Yeah. So at State 48, and that's all spelled out. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. State48.com, all spelled out, as our website. Excited to have a new website being developed. We'll launch next month. But yeah, all our information is on our website at state48.com. Our headquarters, retail locations in North Chandler. That address is on our website. We're open 10 to 5 throughout the week. And then, on Saturday too, Churchill location will reopen after the curfew and all this stuff. But yeah, state48.com is your one-stop shop for everything.
Awesome. Cool. Well, hey, thanks again for coming on. Good luck with everything you're doing moving forward. And
Thank you, guys.
We'll catch you all next week.
Yeah, you too. Appreciate it.